Hello everyone. Do you want to learn microservices in simple way? Yes, I'll guide you here. Let's understand what is microservices and how to learn. Before going to explain about microservices, how we used to implement applications before microservices by using monolithic architecture, all the modules of application, all the modules of your business requirements, we used to keep it into a single project. We used to call it as monolithic application. We will take one server, there we deploy a single application code where we have many modules. When it comes to microservices, same modules will become APIs. Each module will become an API and they will connect with each other. By using some kind of tools, we will implement all the microservices and we connect them together. So it is important to understand how to implement this micro APIs, what architectural patterns that I need to follow, what tools I should learn. First thing, we should understand how to implement small APIs. What are all architectural principles we have? What are all tools that we need to learn? If we covered these three, we will become strong in microservices. As we are into Java, how we implement microservices, we have a beautiful framework, Springboot. It made our life easy to implement microservice based applications. Using Spring Boot, you can implement small APIs in a traditional way. If you want reactive based to give access in a faster way, non-blocking access, or if you want to stream your data, like if you want to stream your movies, audios, without blocking the next coming output, you can use Spring Webflux and you can implement non-blocking microservices. In case if you want to implement serverless microservices, Spring supporting integration with AWS Lambda or Azure functions, you can implement serverless microservices also. Coming to architecture, majorly what I need to learn from the architecture, I have bunch number of requirements. How I can decide that requirements need to move to which microservice? So to resolve that confusion, here we have some decomposition design patterns. If you learn about this decomposition requirement, easily you can able to break into small microservices. How I can maintain database? So you need to understand these database patterns to maintain database for your microservices. How to maintain consistency in the database? So you have to learn about these patterns to maintain the consistency. How I can test my microservice? There are some testing patterns that we need to learn. And how I can implement front-end UI? We have some UI based principles. How to convert application from monolithic to microservice? There are some patterns to convert old application to new application. How can I maintain cross-cutting corners? There are some microservices architectural patterns to do that. How I can maintain security? We have security related patterns. How I can communicate one microservice with other microservice? There are some microservices communication patterns, or you can say good practices. How I can maintain reliability? We have circuit breaker patterns. How I can share my application access? We have some external API design principles. how I can maintain logs, and how I can observe how my application is working. There are some observability patterns. How to maintain infrastructure deployment. So there are some patterns to understand how to deploy and maintain your application. How to register your application using service registries and others can able to view. So there are some service discovery patterns. So if you can become expert in this all patterns, you can design any microservice. And understanding all these architectural patterns is a big deal? Not at all. It is easy to understand them. And now let's see what tools we should learn. For coding, you have IDEs like Spring Toolsuit, IntelliJ. You can use them to implement your microservices applications. How you can test microservices? You have tools like Swagger, documentation, or Postman to test your APIs. How I can deploy and maintain my application? For deployment and to maintain your application, you have tools like Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins for pipeline setup and all. How I can maintain my logs and how I can do analysis? You can use ELK stack for that, Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. If I want to maintain event-driven architecture, you can use message queues like RabbitMQ, Kafka. I want to use cloud. You can choose any cloud wisely based on the investment that you have for your application, or based on the business use case. You may choose AWS, GCP, Azure, or any private cloud. So, can we include any AI tools here to learn? Yes. Nowadays, AI tools helping a lot in microservices or in application implementation, either it is Java, .NET, anything. So we have beautiful AI tools that we can integrate with our development, and we can make our application code good, clean. So you can use Copilot or Tab9 or ChatGPT. There are so many AI tools that are available to help you during the coding. You can use any AI tool. You can integrate with your coding. So it helps you a lot. Let me show you examples. Let me show you simple examples using Spring Boot and Webflux, how I can implement small microservice. I'll show you how to implement a small microservice by using Spring Boot and using Spring Webflux. In these two ways, by using Spring, you can implement small microservices. Let me show you examples practically. I'll use Spring Toolsuit as an IDE to provide you this example. This first example covers Spring Boot based traditional microservice application. So here I created simple Spring Boot web project and I implemented simple API here by using @REST controller, by using @request get mapping. When users calls /hello, I'm just replying hello. And this application, this microservice is running in port 9090 using built-in Tomcat. And let me show you one more application which is implemented by using Webflux. Same hello controller implemented by using REST controller, used same request mapping, but here if you see the response type is Flux. You can stream your data here. You can send number of records in a sequence to the Flux. So it is a non-blocking response it will generate and it will send. You can imagine streaming a movie in Netflix or Prime. You will get byte by byte from the server and you would able to see movie. So you can implement such use cases by using this Flux. Let me run first application which is running in port 9090. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. And let's observe the console. This is running in port number 9090. It is running in port number 9090. Built-in Tomcat is running. Now let me start the other application as well. The WebFlex application running in port number 9292. So I'm running this WebFlex application as well. As they are running in two different ports, you don't see any issue. Two applications you can run parallelly. So during your microservices application development, many modules at a time you will implement. So at a time you may need to run them and test it. No problem, you can run any number of applications, but use unique port numbers. And this is running in netty. Now let's test them. I'm using a browser here, localhost 9090/hello. It will call simple springboot application and showing you output here. Now let's call WebFlex application, which is running in 9292. Give port number 9292 here and test it. You are getting hello world. Hello world from WebFlex application, hello from Spring Boot application. In these two ways you can implement Spring Boot based or Spring WebFlex based applications for microservices. Hope you understand how to learn and how to implement microservices. Okay, please follow my channel for more videos. Thank you guys.